Well, we are leaving the hotel. We're actually driving to the airport to take Steve Palermo's car back. He's going to drive back with us. We're going from Lexington, tonight, because we packed up the car here. We're going from Lexington tonight. Depending on what time we leave the sale, we may be driving right to Northfield. We may stop in Columbus. We're just going to start driving. Tomorrow's going to be a cool day for us. We're going to take a look at the Ohio barn, try to figure it away, map a way forward, who's staying, who's going, when they're coming. We have a number of babies that will likely stay in Ohio for a little while because they're jogging fine now here and doing their work fine. And then we will, as we bring some of the 2-year-olds coming through, some of their sophomores back in, we can move some of those babies back over to Ontario. I think that's the best transition for our horses moving forward. One, right now, what Amy's trying to do, I've left her in charge of it, is figuring out, making sure we're not understaffed anywhere. We have enough people in Ohio. We want to make sure that we keep enough horses there and not overstretch the people in Ontario. We just shipped back 13, 14 horses. Mark Beckwith had sent a couple of horses back and asked me if I could break them for him. So they're coming back. A couple of Reds, I think. Maybe New Year, I don't know. And then also a couple of breeders are thinking of sending some horses back. I sent the videos out to you guys. I gave you a little teaser the other day. Sunshine's finest sister, we went to look at her. Very, very, very nice people. In fact, I was a little embarrassed. I didn't realize that one of the owners of Sunshine Finest, one of the owners of this filly we looked at, Ladies at Lunch, I think was her name. It was a cool name. Is a client of ours. Owns some horses with us right now. So, very, very nice people. Missy was very kind, and her cousin. We went out and looked at the filly. Just an absolutely beautiful property, Copper Cap Farms, and it was beautiful. Looked at this filly. I don't really know what we're going to do now. We're going to try and work something out with them. If we can, we can. If we can't, we can't. This would be a Stay Hungry sister to Sunshine's Finest. It's so eerily similar as far as brothers and sisters. Sunshine's Finest was a tiny bit offset in his knees and a little bit toed in. So she is really cool. It was a mirror image of him when he was young. So very interesting. It was nice to get out to the countryside of Kentucky. I've been here a number of times, but I've never actually ventured out into Versailles or out to Paris. And there you can see why it's the horse racing capital of the world. It is just a beautiful, sprawling countryside. It seemed like every farm. We visited Haley Moore's farm also, where we had Unbeatable Kemp turned out in Garden State Deal. They look amazing. Haley's already put at least 100 pounds on Unbeatable Kemp, and he looked very, very good. The filly looks great, but it seems like the status quo is each farm has like 60 acres. It's this massive rolling countryside, and it is beautiful in Kentucky. So I just want to talk about what went on this week. Obviously, the sale was a huge success from my standpoint for the stable.ca. It's not over yet. We're going to the last day of the sale right now, but it's been a great run so far for us at the sale. You know, we didn't race as many horses this week. I guess Globetrotting was a little disappointing. I'm going to speak to Ron today. I think I might take Globetrotting back to Canada for a month or so to freshen her up. I think obviously she can race at Yonkers and do well at Yonkers. Slid a little in her last two. Maybe she's a little under the weather, a little burnt out or whatnot. I think we might take her back to Canada. And I was going to ask him if he thought it would be all right to send maybe Tipsy and Dixie to Yonkers for her last couple of starts heading into Harrisburg, if we can prove that she's a Yonkers horse. One, it puts doubt in our mind about selling her, and two, and more importantly, it really establishes a firm fair market price from the seller, from our point of view, for horses like Tipsy and Dixie. I have to talk to him about that and see if he'd be okay with that, if that's something that would be amenable for him. I suspect it will. For the people out there saying, what's wrong with Globetrotting? Listen, these things happen. The filly didn't race great last week, and then back in 6 days, she maybe didn't get over whatever was bugging her. It's not really the end of the world. She'll bounce back. She's always been tough as iron, so I'm not really worried about Globetrotting. I am worried about making sure we get her back on track, but certainly not worried about Globetrotting presently or in the future with us or in racing. Now, we also had, who else we have race this week? Anybody? I know we have Grace finished third in the gold race in Ontario and raced very, very good. Mario raced her from behind. She is screaming on the under. Here's a 2-year-old filly that really had zero expectations, to the point where I didn't even sell any shares of her until the summer, just because she just looked so okay. For her to go out and trot a mile 55 and 4. Actually, that mile was the fastest mile trotted by any 2-year-old filly of ours, I believe. No, that's not right. Garden State Dio was 55 and a piece, I think. No, I think it was 56 and 1. Either way, she's amongst the top speed-wise of our horses, amongst the top money-wise of our horses, and for a horse that just had so little expectations, it was really incredible to watch that take place. So very impressed with what she's accomplished as a 2-year-old, and we actually ended up buying the brother to her father, Merchant Man, I think his name was. Beautiful colt. The one thing's for certain, both Greg, who was a breeder of Grace, and Bob Burgess and Brittany Farms, obviously there's a lot of breeding in that family, and I wanted to make sure that these are people that know what they're doing. These are people that are very intelligent, smart people, and they had thought enough at least to breed Merchandiser. I thought buying his brother, that looks so good to me as a horseman, looks so good, was a bit of a slam dunk, I thought, anyway. So she raced great. Again, White Tiger threw a clunker in. A lot of people that have owned White Tiger with me and my wife for a long time really took it in stride, right? Just another inconsistent mile from White Tiger, and he's been known for them in the past. But in reality, there you go. Yep, I'm getting in this lane. Just gotta give you a little wheel. There you go. Thank you. Fake wave. Here we go. Thought it just took it in stride that it was another inconsistent, another wasted chance for White Tiger to put a good run together. And we had scoped him after, and he was actually quite full of mucus, to the point where we're going to give him a week off and race him next week. Aglaire AM has been on an absolute tear in Ontario. Still, for the people that watch, how good she is. For the people that maybe haven't been paying attention, probably one of the most undervalued, underrated horses in the entirety of our stable is Aglaire AM. This is a beast of a filly, 3-year-old trotting filly that has strung together a 3-race win streak at Mohawk. 2 of those starts culminating in 153, and then eclipsing her own lifetime mark of 153 and 2 the next week, doing it in multiple ways, multiple fashions, just showing how versatile she is. You'd never be able to train her on the front or race her on the front before. Remember back when we sent her to the Meadows, just please don't put her on the front. They put her on the front and she made a break on the front end. James put her on the front and she won easily. Then he raced her first over, won easily, raced from behind. You can race this filly from anywhere on a racetrack, and she is a threat in any place where she seems like she's a threat to win the race. She probably is. And a very, very nice filly. I can't wait. The end of the year has been surprising. She struggled on the 5/8 when we got her over to Pennsylvania. If you had her in a striking position, she was a winner. But she also put a bump on her left hind leg from striking her shin. Getting her back to Mohawk was important. I think she'll grow out of that as her shoulders broaden out. She fills out. I think she'll become a much more a filly. She's built for a smaller track, so I think she will become a filly that can race on any size track. But right now, it's just a real it's just a real good ride. I'm just reflecting on what took place at the start of the year leading up to now. James and I had written in an article that him and I argue and butt heads, and Mark and I butted heads last night. But we're a family, and that's what families do. We're not like Amy and her sisters where they play paper, scissors, rocks rather than get angry. My brothers grew up and it was a fist fight. I got stabbed in the shoulder with a fork one time. Mark got his nose broken, I think. These things happen in families, and James reflected on that in an interview this week and said that him and I butt heads and don't really get along all the time, but he knows that I'm in a tough spot, a high stress, and I expect a lot from myself and from our horses, and that leads to stress sometimes. So this industry is great, but I think you all know now that you've been involved in horse racing long enough in any capacity, especially with us, we try to take the stress out of racing, but it's still there. It's still present. It's still palpable. And for me, at the top of the heap, for me as the captain of the ship, the last thing I want to do is run into icebergs, and I'm trying my best not to. And I think that leads into what we did this week. And Steve and I were talking today as we were driving to breakfast. and I told him, I said, the Anthony McDonald from 5 years ago is not the Anthony McDonald now. The stable of 5 years ago is not the stable of now. And I've been reminded of that a couple of times throughout the last few months, where I've talked about selling horses. I've talked about not making the same mistakes we made before. And that hasn't always been abundantly clear to everybody. From some people, they may have seen it as, well, Anthony used to buy these very mediocrely bred horses and try to turn them into good horses, and it was very affordable, and you bought them and allowed us to buy into them. That's wonderful, but we're lucky enough. I am very, very lucky enough. My wife, my family is lucky enough to have been able to turn the stable.ca into one of the largest bidding operations. Like, I bought 14, I bid on 100 horses this week probably, and bid spotters and breeders, they see that, right?
Treat us differently, I found this week.
Because they know we're here to bid. We're not just here to kick tires and buy horses cheap. We're here to bid. And for the people that really watch us, we also have a horse in Ontario that looks like he's on his way to making some serious waves. I'll talk about that in a minute. And that's very, very important. So, and this will lead into that. As we talk about what I've accomplished, luck has paid in. But you guys know, preparation meeting opportunity is luck. That's the definition of luck. Everybody at the stable.ca works their ass off. We know that you only get out what you put in. And even then, sometimes you don't. You need a little luck, but you gotta back it up with hard work. And that's why I'm not afraid to get in my car and put miles on it. My wife, my kids, we're used to traveling because we know that's what it takes. You saw how exhausted I was 2 days ago making that video. I almost fell asleep in the middle of the video. But I was up 3 hours later, and I was on a plane to go race our horse in New Jersey. And my brother Mark had said, well, why don't you just put somebody else in the horse? Daniel Dubé's there. Yeah, he is. But I know what happens if Daniel Dubé makes a break with a filly that he doesn't know. To Daniel Dubé, it's just, we'll get them next time. But to me, and to our clients, it's, Anthony, you could have been there. And I'm sure at some point there'll become a point where maybe I am obsolete in a bigger way. Maybe I don't play the role that I did or I do. But that time is not now. It is not yet. And I think, yes, in hindsight, I could have turned the lines over to Daniel Dubé. He wasn't getting any more than I got, I can tell you that. And that's not to say that I could do as good a job as Daniel Dubé on a level playing field. I can't. But when it comes to stable.ca horses, when it comes to a 2-year-old filly that he doesn't know and I do, absolutely. And that's my job. I slept. And we joked about it after. I got on the airplane. I do not remember taking off. And a lady had to shake me to wake me up when I got to Atlanta for my connecting flight. I got to the next plane. Same thing. I don't remember the wheels lifting. And the guy jostling me to get up to deplane is what woke me up. I was tired. I didn't want to do a video last night. I wasn't tired last night, but I knew that if I just had a good night's sleep and talked to everybody, the energy would be back. The Anthony that has that passion, that energy, would be present. And that's what I wanted to do. And that's what I do. That's the job. There are some days I'm going to go to bed very tired, as I should. So we're in the set. Looking back at where I came from. Looking back at the horses we had in our barn the first year, the second year, the third year. I had a guy come up to me that knew because he watched our videos. I had a gentleman walk up to me with his son and say, we watch all your videos. We think what you're doing is great for the industry, which is great. It sounds great. It's a little humbling. Once in a while it'll almost make you blush. But we are trying to help the industry. We are trying to show trainers that you can do this. You can create something better for yourself and better for the industry. And again, that is exactly what we've tried to do. You look at the horses. The Anthony McDonald that landed in Lexington 5 years ago was not looking at buying day one horses. We were lucky enough to buy one 3 years ago. 2 years ago. There was no day one horses for me 5 years ago. No shot. No, you need to slow down there, fella. And I guess that's indicative of what I'm trying to say. I've only been able to accomplish this, and this has been baby steps. There is people after year 3 like, Anthony, let's go buy a good horse. That expensive horse, and we tried, but we weren't able to. I wasn't just going to go buy an expensive horse for our clients because it was expensive. I wanted to buy the right horse for our clients. I wanted to buy the horse that was going to make a difference, hopefully, because you can do everything you want. You can buy all the best horses on paper you can find, but that doesn't mean they're going to be. So I wanted to make sure, at least if we were going to buy that expensive horse, it's going to be one that I picked. And I never found one. Not in year 4, not in year 3. Found one in year 2. I guess I'm going the wrong way. 2, 3, 4. The one we bought last year, now that could change everything. You know, this is a colt that we started off the year with such high hopes. Such high hopes. And had to stall because he just wasn't ready. I knew he wasn't ready. You know what I'm talking about, 3-point blue chip. He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. Mentally, physically, he was there since July. But mentally, he just didn't feel like he was ready to go. And this was the first time as a trainer I had the confidence, because of you, I had the confidence to say, no, we're not starting him. I don't feel rushed. I don't feel stressed. My clients are not, as a regular trainer, somebody paying board bills would say, hey, come on, this horse, you said he was in 2 minutes, let's go. We're paying bills on this horse. But you allowed me to do my job properly. And that's changed me as a person. That's changed me as a trainer. Knowing that horse wasn't ready and being able to not rush him still. You guys made 3-point blue chip as much as I did. I can assure you of that. The hard work that she put in, that was only because you allowed her to. And I'm speaking as a partner of yours and the manager of the stable and a person that has a lot to do with 3-point blue chip. He's only got 16,000 made. But I've had people come up to me. I've had people come up to me and talk about him from the States. They're watching. They see. The person that bought Plunge Blue Chip as a broodmare, bought her. Imagine what they paid for her. Come up to me last night asking about the colt. And a number of questions asked, actually. People see what we're doing. We got to the world stage and we did it the right way. That's what we were trying to build, and that's what we're going to continue to try and build. You can't just go and dump a pile of money on and buy all these horses because bad things can happen. We did it the right way. We bought okay horses, a little better. You guys saw the pedigree we bought last year. We didn't pay a fortune for it. We bought 5 day 1 horses in Lexington. Legit horses. Good horses. You didn't spend a fortune doing it. Yes, our budget increased a little bit, and you were very good in allowing me to do that. What we've done in Ohio the last 2 years, and especially this year at the sale, incredible. Absolutely incredible. And look at the horses we bought this year. I'm just going to run through them quick. You guys have seen them in the videos. This was a filly I thought was a day 1 filly that would bring 6 figures. Didn't quite make it to our expensive list, but she was on the short list right before the last cuts. If there was 3 people on that team that I buttoned down on, those are my 3. She was one of the last cuts. 15, horn player. Tactical landing filly, sister to alarm detector. Is a broodmare, she's worth more than that. 45,000 American I paid for this filly because we were ready to do business when we got there. I wasn't ready to buy this filly, not for what I thought she'd bring. I ever marked as 80 or 90,000. I was ready to buy her because she was in the ring. 71, the filly I wanted so bad. I'll go down with this ship. If she's not a good horse, that's my fault. But I picked Una Madonna as my number 1 pick of the entire sale in Lexington 2021. We got her. We were ready to spend $150,000. We got her for $100,000. So I put Horn Player in the top grouping also. Made total sense to me. Landing Strip, this is a brother to Pinkman. Pinkman was an explosive matter that made $2.9 million and won the Hambletonian. This is his tactical landing brother, and I told you guys to do business in Lexington in our capacity, in such a value-based way. We'd have to find angles. One of those angles is smaller consignments, right? If Hunterton put Landing Strip through, God knows how much this horse brings. And for those of you who think I'm full of shit, just go and look at what happened with some of the other horses in the sale. There are ways to maneuver in the Lexington sale. You just have to be cognitive of how to traverse that river. Know where the rocks are. It's hard to buy horses from Hunterdon. It's hard to buy them from Preferred, Kentuckiana. These are established big farms with massive clientele lists. It's very difficult to buy those horses all the time. We talked about that. But some of these other smaller consignments, they don't get the same foot traffic. They don't get the same big owners saying, what about something Hanover? What about the Kentuckiana horse? What about the Hunterdon consignment? You know, if you find a horse at Midland Acres that looks similar to Hunterdon, you go over to Hunterdon, look at it, they're going to talk to you. If you're a prior client, there's a good chance they're going to talk you into their horse. That's their job. But seeing through all that, the marketing, the advertising, the wonderful videos, the beautiful pedigree page, and just judging the individual, regardless of the consignment, that is how you do business in Kentucky. If you're us, if you're the stable. So Landing Strip, go back and look at his video, go look at his pedigree, and just do yourself a favor and pretend it was a Hunterdon horse. Does he bring $57,000? I think not. Number 98, I told you guys the story behind Tactical Mounds. Beautiful filly, well-bred. Her sister sold for $110,000, but because they didn't give the update at the sale that the sister was bought by Europeans and exported last year to Sweden. That's why she's not on here, and they don't race many 2-year-olds. That's why you haven't heard about 7 Mounds. $110,000 for a Chapter 7. This is a Tactical Landing. She is a mammoth beast. $27,000 we gave for this filly. Again, Springhaven. Springhaven sold some very expensive horses, but on the whole, I think for the middle of their order, they get underpaid. That's why, and I love going over there. They show us all their horses. They text us. They even own. Sanina and Jeff had kept a few shares of some horses that they had bought with us in the Ohio, that we had bought from them in the Ohio sale. And we're happy to have them. But Tactical Mounds, $27,000 a day one Tactical Landing filly. And I can tell you the only reason she didn't go for $77,000 because they didn't stress the update. Would they have stressed it for Hunterdon? Just saying. 101. Again, back to Midland Acres. A Muscle Hill. Just so you know, the stud fee on Muscle Hill for these people is $30,000. $30,000. Go look at the video. I'll show you the horse when we get home. When I break him and I jog him, you'll see the horse. It's $25,000 for this horse. Day 1 Lexington Muscle Hill colt with this pedigree. I can assure you the only reason we got him was because he was coming from Midland. That's not fair to them, but that's the reality of the situation. Those horses, those 5 horses, Horn Player, Una Madonna, Landing Strip, Tactical Mound, Sir Strong, Day 1 horses. You met me 5 years ago. We talked about what the stable could be like, what we thought it could be like, how we were trying to make it a better place. Fast forward those 5 years to buying 5 horses on day 1 in Lexington. 2 very different Anthony McDonalds. Very different Anthony McDonalds. Yes, I still have the core of the stable in my heart and what we're trying to build, but we are trying to maneuver the model to fit what we've become, right? You know, I feel like the lawyer that got out of law school driving a Toyota, trying to pay off his, school tuition. At some point, that lawyer is going to drive something better. He's going to feel better. He's going to have his own business. He's going to be in a firm, or, as I said, have his own company. That's what I've strived to do, is build something that other people can look at and say, not only say, how did he do that, but say, wow, that's pretty impressive. Not to get patted on the back, but because I wanted to build that. Not just for myself and my family, but for you. We set out to make it affordable for anybody to participate in horse racing, and we did that. We made it so that you could buy a horse like Tactical Mounds on day 1 of Lexington. I never could, and most of you couldn't either, buy a day 1 Lexington horse. We bought 5 of them. And that goes back to what we've been doing and how we've been trying to do it. I took such a risk last year, and I'm happy to do it. Such a risk to buy 3 Point Blue Chip, and I hope he turns out. It looks like he's well on his way to turning out. It looks like he's well on his way to being something special. You know, the people I've talked to about 3-Point Blue Chip and the conversations I've had, I never thought I'd be able to have a 3-Point Blue Chip. These are not conversations I'm equipped to have because it's out of my league. And it's not just about 3-Point Blue Chip. You look at all the horses, as I said, we bought those day 1 horses. We bought horses on day 2 also, right? But the Chapter 7 full sister, the help is on the way. We bought the bar hopping filly for $30,000 that's eligible in Pennsylvania, Kentucky, and Maryland. Out of the Poof She's Gone family. Bought her. Merchant Man, as I said. Merchandiser's brother by Father Patrick. Carter Michael Dio, probably one of the least talked about and most interesting horses that we've bought in the entire sale. This is a brother to Taekwon Dio, who's exported, raced against him with Lawmaker. French Bastille's in that family. Second dam is Krista's Image, who's the mother of Cries, or Chris Dream. Loaded family. International money. Check both the boxes I wanted. Good pedigree, and I love first crop sires, and I liked the international monies. Interested to see what's going to happen there. You know, the horses we bought were I would say, very interesting animals. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without you. I wouldn't have been able to do that without what we've created. But that's taken baby steps. So circling back to what I said, for the people out there saying your model's changing and I'm not happy with it because these horses are a little more expensive and because you're asking people to put money up, that's what we built. We've built an avenue to buy good horses now for all of us. For those of you saying I don't want to get left behind and I don't have a strong budget, we bought Tactical Mounds. We bought the Muscle Hill Colt on day 1, Sir Strong. We bought a number of horses last night. I bought you Taiwan On's full brother for $22,000. I left the airport on the dead run. Got in the car, got into the sale as he walked into the ring. Thinking he's 40 or 50, no problem, and I wasn't going to pay that for him. But at 22, you guys saw too, he sold out. And I wanted to, and we did. I put that horse outside of the partnership specifically because those 2 fillies meant so much to everyone at the stable. I couldn't just put that horse walled off from everyone until whenever we put some shares available for him. I wanted everybody to have fun, everybody to be a part of a horse that I bought for much less money than he should have been. That's my job, and that's what I did. So I'm trying to be fair to everybody. I'm trying to do everything for everybody. I'm trying to build the business that people said wouldn't work. For those of you that ventured into this with me on year 1, you heard everyone. It'll never work. It'll never work. It's been done before. It's never been done before. Not like this. And it did work. Fast forward 5 years later, the stable.ca, breeders are happy to see us. Sales are happy to see us. People are asking us to take horses. Can we join up? We have a horse that's going to the Breeders' Crown in 2 weeks. Everything works out well. We're buying horses on day 1 Lexington. For those of you who are pundits out there and said it won't work, you're not looking at the long game. We took a bunch of ragtag horses that we tried to do the best we could with for a few years, brought a number of great people into an industry that was desperately in need of great people, and built something that people should talk about and will talk about for a while. And none of that was possible without you. I work my butt off. My wife works her butt off. And we drag our family all over the place. And I love every minute of it. Because without us doing that, without you being a part of the stable, this industry is just going down the same slope it has been for a long time. And for the people that come up and say, you are exactly what we needed for the industry, not just me, this model and models like this will be the only thing that will be able to save this industry. And if you think I'm wrong, you go look at the people that bought horses on day 1. Look up their age and see what kind of trajectory this industry is heading in. No disrespect to elderly people or people that are older in this industry, but we need to be able to bring a younger, more vibrant feel to the horse racing industry, and that's something else we've been able to do here at the stable. So, we have huge things ahead. We have the Ohio finals next week. Buckeye finals in Ohio. We had the super finals. We had Grace in the super finals. We have the grassroots finals in Ontario tonight. And then most of the year that never should have been, the year that we never thought we would have, the year that seemed illogical has happened. We had a fantastic year on the track. We had a fantastic year at the sales, especially this one. And it's all culminating in 2 weeks, hopefully, with an opportunity to race a horse that we didn't even know would race for sure this year in the Breeders' Crown, the pinnacle of horse racing in 2021. And I think it's important, without saying thank you so much, it is important to say, without you, year one, stable.ca may have just fizzled out and never been without the people that came in to the stable.ca. The people that allowed us to be here in Lexington 6 years, 5 years later, buying horses on day one, day two, filling our barn with horses I never thought I'd be able to buy. Be lucky if I bought one of the horses that we bought. Without the constant participation of people out there, you, people, there's no stable, and quite frankly, may not be any industry. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm super excited. Last day of Lexington tonight. But more importantly, looking back at what we've done, not just at the sales, but this year in general. We've had winners in almost every jurisdiction in North America. We've had a lot of luck at the track. And for a year that started out in lockdown in Ontario, not many people can say that. So, thank you very much. I will talk to you. I'll still have tons of videos to make, talking about the babies, talking about racing. But for now, this video is one of the most important ones I've made all year. It's the end of the Lexington sale. You've allowed us to do something I never thought I'd be able to do, and it has turned into something that everybody would love to do. So, thank you all again. We'll talk to you all very soon. Take care.